of a dynamic system from a science that we call the science of cymatics, the relationship between sound and form. In this pattern, you'll begin to understand now why the magnetics of the Earth falling and the frequency increasing, why they're so important to you. A gentleman named Hans Jenny, who's no longer with us, developed this science of cymatics back in the late 1940s. And essentially what he said is this: for every vibration, whether it's an audible sound or an inaudible frequency, for every audible or every pattern of vibration as it's projected into some media, some form of matter, there will be a predictable, repeatable, consistent pattern. And when the vibration changes, that pattern changes. And when the vibration goes back to what it was, the pattern goes back to what it was. Well, what I'd like to do now is show you a series of cymatic images so that you can see this with your own eyes, so that you can feel this with your body. There's a body resonance that I'd like for you to have before we move forward with this discussion. So what you will see now is a series of cymatic images, and I'll let you watch them, listen to them, and then we'll come back and discuss those. The image you're seeing is a cymatics image. It's the result of a vibration being projected into a media. And what you'll notice is that the higher the frequencies of the vibration that you're seeing, the more complex the patterns. As you watch carefully, you'll see these patterns will become more and more complex, resulting or being the result of increasingly complex and higher frequencies. If you listen carefully, you can just barely hear these sounds. See how much more complex this image is as a result of the higher frequency. This is being narrated by a gentleman named Dr. Peter Guy Manners. And you'll hear Dr. Manners' voice throughout as we see these different cymatics images. These sounds are being projected into a media of lycopodium. It is the spore of the mugwort plant. And it's the lycopodium, the particles of lycopodium that you're seeing in motion throughout. Now in this particular image, watch what happens as the frequencies increase. If you were to look at a single particle, it would look like it was in chaos, and when you back off and look at the overall particles, you see there is a very high order.
Transition to a mobile flowing phase. And back again to the figure. The sonorous figures represent stationary waves, but now we can also observe moving waves. Here, the sand is flowing in a current.
Now look at the rotational effect that you're seeing here. As the frequencies increase, the system responds through rotation. And you'll see this very well in the next few seconds.
Wavelengths are short, these currents produce a rotary effect. Areas become defined in which the particles are actually rotating.
Now look at this. If you did not know any better, you may believe that you are looking at an image of interstellar space through a telescope. These look like galaxies. What is it that drives the rotational effect in our galaxies? What is it that drives the rotation of the planets? What is it that drives and impacts the rotation of Earth?
Now we produce two...
Now, what we've seen up until now are single signals, single frequencies projected in the matter. And what you're seeing here now are interference patterns of two or more frequencies resulting in a pulse. The pulse of the human heart, the pulse that drives the blood through the veins in your bodies. What is your heart responding to? Where does that pulse come from? These systems look almost alive. Simply the result of vibration. When the vibration stops, the patterns stop. Now, you've seen with your own eyes, you've seen what the relationship is between sound and form. And the reason I wanted you to see that before we go forward with this, I know that you know that vibration affects your world. What you may not have considered is that emotion is a vibration. Feelings are vibrations. When you emote and when you feel, what you are doing is generating a pattern within the liquid crystal structure of your body that you call muscle and tissue. Your emotions and your feelings are holding these patterns in place. And what's happening in your lives is that Earth is going through a vibratory shift. The liquid crystal of your body is attempting to accommodate that shift. And to the degree that emotion is allowed within your body, to the degree that you allow your emotions to allow the patterns to unfold within your body, to that degree do you experience a graceful transition. And here's how it happens. This is exactly the way this process works. This is not a metaphor. I'm going to describe to you now something the ancients called the sacred circuit. In our tradition, when I was in school, when you were in school, you were taught that our cells, the cells and the DNA in our body, are regulated by the brain. That the brain regulates the immune system of our body and all of our regulatory functions, the heating and cooling of the body, our metabolism, aging and deterioration. I make a distinction between aging and deterioration. You will all be 4 hours older. This is a 4-hour video. 4 hours older after you've seen this video, and you don't care about that. Did you deteriorate in those 4 hours? That's what you care about. And if you did, why? Do we have to deteriorate? All of our responses to the external environment, we're conditioned that our brain regulates all of those. Now, I won't say that that's not true. What I'll say is that that is incomplete, because the brain responds to a pulse, an electromagnetic signal, and that is how it regulates these cells. Where does that signal come from? Well, researchers asked the same question, and just about 2 years ago, 1994, 93, 94, what researchers discovered was that the brain does in fact have a signal, and it responds and directs the signal, receives a signal directly from the human heart. That there is actually a circuit, a resonant tuning between the human heart and the brain and the cells of our body. And it didn't take researchers long to say, well, if that's true, where does the heart get its signal? And this isn't the heartbeat. We're not talking about the heartbeat. We're talking about the electromagnetic pulse of the heart that you would get in an EKG, for example. Well, it didn't take researchers long to discover that the Earth is, in fact, tuned to something else. The Earth receives its signals from something else directly from the Earth. So what we can say is that there is a circuit that moves from the Earth to the heart, to the brain, to the cells of our body, a tuned resonant circuit. It's not about wires connecting things together. It's a vibratory tuning. And this system that we have is a system that is ongoing. Anytime there's a change anywhere in this system, everything from that point down must change. So look at what's happening right now. We just defined the changes the Earth is going through, magnetic changes, frequency changes. Everything down in the system must respond and accommodate that change. Your heart must accommodate that change to successfully transition. So what we say is that the Earth entrains the heart, and the heart entrains the brain, and the brain entrains the cells. This is the sacred circuit. So another view of the circuit looks like this, because the circuit goes on from our Earth. Here's the cells of your body. There's your brain, your heart. Your heart is tuned to the Earth. Well, where does the Earth get its signals? From our nearest star, our sun. Remember in the very beginning of our talk, we said that our sun is going through a tremendous transition right now. It's losing magnetics, going to steady state magnetics. Well, if Earth is tuned to our sun, I would expect that Earth would follow suit. And what are researchers telling us about Earth? Earth is indeed losing the magnetics. Our star is tuned to something, whatever that energy source is, at the center of our Milky Way. The very first slide, second slide. We saw that at that center, the great central sun, as the ancients called it, the center of the Milky Way, that signal changed. In 1991, we began to pick up a new signal that is cascading down through this resonant circuit. So from this very simple diagram, from this conceptual model, you can see that truly the cells of your body, you are truly part of all that you see, resonantly tuned to your world. And you ask yourself, if we have this resonance, if we are always tuned to our world, then why aren't we always tuned to our world? Why aren't we always tuned to the earth as the earth goes through the shifts that earth is going through? And a very good question, and that is it's the crux of where we go from this point forward, because you and I have the luxury, we have the opportunity of emotion in our lives, and different components of emotion either enable or disable or impede the body's ability to maintain its tuning to the earth. Fear. Fear is a powerful ally in the experience of human expression. Fear is also a very powerful discordant frequency that disallows the tuning of the human body to the earth. And fear in our culture, fear has many masks. Now here is our tuned resonant circuit again. Here's the cells, the brain, the heart, the earth. Traditionally, now admittedly this is changing right now within the last few years. Traditionally this is what we've done. Between our heart and our brain, we have cut ourselves off. We've separated mind knowing from heart knowing in our world. And the ancients have told us, the indigenous peoples have said for years, love your earth, love your home. That's the key to harmony in your world. To a 20th century male-oriented, schematically diagrammed Western technological society, that doesn't mean much when you say love your earth. Now, as we're able to establish this resonant relationship, we know what that's saying. And the same thing happens between the heart and the brain. Historically, we have cut ourselves off from our planet and from our brain simply through our life patterns and choices of lifestyle and the way that we've chosen to live. And that is changing now as we remember, as we heal.